Welcome to another special episode of the Grumpy Brothers podcast. I am Chris Ludvigson, joined by Ted. Say hey, Ted.
Hey, Ted.
Thank you to our listeners. Please subscribe and listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Odyssey. Also, please follow us here on millions.co. Ted, we have a special topic that came up today because two really major MLB, the two biggest probably free agent signings happened today, almost back to back. It's almost like they were waiting for one to happen and the other one was almost
Right. Yeah.
immediate afterwards. And then there was another little small move that I think happened because of it. But anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. Um, let's go to the first and the biggest number, which was the 4-year, $240 million contract signed by Kyle Tucker, leaving the Cubs to join the two-time defending World Series champion Dodgers. The contract includes another $30 million in deferrals. So the total deferrals on the books now for the Dodgers
Yeah.
over 8 players
Yeah.
from 2028 to 2046 is a cool $1 billion.
Nice. Nice.
They clearly don't have any concerns about their revenue stream for the next 20 years.
Well, I think we talked about this briefly at some point last year. Maybe, or maybe when Edwin Diaz signed earlier this winter. I read that in 2024, they made, and when they say made, I assume that means made, that clear,
Clear profit.
no profit, all profit, everybody's paid or whatever, $700 million. Now, I think if you invest that wisely in a couple of CDs, the interest the interest that goes on through 2046 certainly should at 3, 4, 5%, they should be able to compound that. The powers of compounding really will allow them to to pay off that cool $1 billion without too much trouble.
Um, as you as you started to cavalierly throw around the term compounding interest, I tried to
Yeah.
remember if there was a Seinfeld episode that dealt with compounding interest, but I don't think there
I don't
was.
think there was. No,
The
no,
one thing
no.
they never hit in their however many years of television magic. Um,
But if you make 700 million
yeah,
one time,
yeah,
and assuming that, without knowing what 2025 something in that ballpark in 2025, because that was 2024. This is 2025 just happened. They won the World Series again. So you would think that they're going to be somewhere in that neighborhood of clear. So, if they keep doing that for another 4 or 5 years, that $1 billion isn't going to bother them.
yeah. The Dodgers are run by very smart people. I'm not worried about the financial aspect for the Dodgers. Of course, I'm going to get on my bandwagon here shortly about how this continues to completely destroy Major League Baseball as a realistic sport. But anyway, let's just talk about for now on the field.
Okay.
If they keep everybody, because I'm reading that Teoscar Hernandez, and this makes perfect sense. They got another corner outfielder. To your point, Teoscar's not exactly
He's a
really
good hitter.
knows. He's
He's a
as an
good hitter.
outfielder, he's a good hitter. Um, but if they keep Teoscar,
Yeah.
here's the projected opening day lineup if everybody's healthy: Shohei, Mookie, Freeman, Will Smith, Tucker, Teoscar, Muncy hitting seventh, Pages hitting eighth, Edman hitting ninth. Then with a starting rotation of Shohei, Yoshi, Snell, Glasnow, and Sasaki. And I'm thinking I'm forgetting at least one of their starters. And then, of course, Diaz closing.
Well, yeah, they had the guy Emmett Sheehan that they could run in there
They're clearly going to have at least a six starter. I've named
Yeah,
five right there.
yeah.
But, Ted, that's a powerhouse. I mean, we thought last year's team was a powerhouse lineup.
Yeah, okay, but last year's team did not win 130 games,
Yeah.
and they came within a spike length probably of losing the World Series,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If the play at home plate is yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Or if Pages somehow doesn't catch the ball in the outfield
Yeah.
that he ran over Kike Hernandez to catch it. But yeah, I mean it's not inconceivable that the Dodgers don't win the World Series this year.
Okay, let me ask you this. If unless they have what has been for the last 2 years, the barrage of injuries,
Right.
if they don't trade any of these core
Yeah.
and this core stays relatively healthy, do you see any reason why this team's not going to win over 110 games in the regular season?
I think that I'm not sure that they're interested in the regular season
Okay, but
in the sense that I don't think they care if they set, you know, the golden what do with the war. I think they'd much rather win 100
okay.
or
I,
103 and
okay.
get the bye and then win the World Series than win 117 and lose the World Series.
Okay, that's a fair point. Okay, now let me ask you this other point, Ted. Let's micromanage this or micro discuss
Yeah.
this for the moment as purely a baseball
Yeah.
move and decision and contract. I think they overpaid for a very good but not necessarily great player
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like we don't want the Mets to have him, so we're all gonna or the Blue Jays, we're just gonna overpay
because
because
we
we can.
can.
We can. And then they won't have him. Right.
Right. Now, um, I will say this. I love my stat that I made up of runs produced
Right,
per
right.
plate appearance. For his career, Kyle Tucker's at 25%. My recollection, it's been a while since I looked at it. I think Aaron is in the 27, 28 range, and I think Shohei's slightly under that. So I think he's not top tier, but he is close to that tier if we use that criteria. Um, Last year, he played 136 games for the Cubs, and I have to give him credit. In a quote unquote contract year, he was clearly hurt with a hand injury and tried to play
Right.
through it and then
Yeah.
sat out a portion of the season. So only played 136 games. His two best years were the last two in Houston when he played 235 games. Here are his stats for those 235 games, Ted. 285, 52 home runs, 161 RBIs, 153 runs scored, and 43 stolen bases. If you were to play a full season, that projects out to 36 homers, 111 RBI, 105 runs, and 30 stolen bases. Even if he were to play close to a full season in the pitcher-friendly ballpark of LA, I don't think he accrues those kinds of stats.
No, but he's assuming they allow him to run because they may not, or they may not need him to run. But, he's a 25-25 guy, right?
Yes, right. And he's going to hit somewhere in the 270 range. He's going to give you 90 RBI and 90 runs scored.
Right. And I mean, because his RBIs could go down
Hitting
behind
fifth.
all those other
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, yeah.
not a lot of maybe not a lot of opportunities. The other piece of it is that he's a really good outfielder,
Mm-hmm,
and they need a really good outfielder,
mm-hmm.
in the corner. Because last year, I mean, it makes them way better in the sense that uh, now they can move Teoscar Hernandez back to left field where he's less, I think, less
Less of a
problematic.
detriment. Okay.
Yeah. And you put a guy who's essentially a Gold Glove caliber guy in right field, and with Pages playing center field, 2/3 of the outfield is really defensively very good. So, I mean, I think that's part of the equation for them.
Now, the other thing that I like about this, if I'm a Dodgers fan, when the season begins next year, this coming season, Tucker's going to be 29. So with only a 4-year contract, and I can't remember if I mentioned it, $240 million contract for a
Yeah.
$60 million annual
Well,
value.
I did see on that, aside from the deferrals,
Mm.
he also got what, 65, 69, something like that signing bonus.
Did he? Wow.
So his actual salary with the defer might be closer to 35 million.
Okay. I'm going to get on my soapbox in a moment, but let me just finish this
Yeah,
out.
okay.
If I'm a Dodger fan, what I love about this contract, instead of like what they do a lot of times, giving a player in his late 20s a 10, 12-year contract, and then having a grossly overpaid player those last couple of years,
Yeah.
from 29 to 32, he's going to be at the height of his game.
Yeah. Yeah. They're getting a guy basically in his prime. Yeah.
And while they overpaying for it, so instead of overpaying the last 4 years, they're overpaying him in the years where he's actually going to be productive.
And theoretically, if he puts a season together like you just mentioned, where he goes 30-30 and drives in 100 runs, then you're really not overpaying him, if particularly if he plays Gold Glove defense. That's probably a pretty good 35 or something million is probably a pretty good rate.
Now, let me get on my soapbox for a moment, Ted.
Oh, don't forget the opt-outs.
Oh, did he? I didn't realize. Did he
He
have?
had opt out after the 2nd and 3rd years. But
Interesting.
if if you're getting paid an average annual value of $60 million, you think there's much of a chance of an
Well,
opt out
Ted, you talk about the fact that he got 65 million whatever up
as a
front.
signing bonus? Yeah.
So maybe after to your point, let's say he wins, let's say his
If
second
he
year,
plays great 2 years in a
the
row.
second year he hits 300, hits 30 home runs with 110 RBIs, and they win the World Series, then yeah, maybe he opts out and tries to go for 65 million the last for another 3 or 4
Well,
years.
yeah, the other part of that is, I mean, I don't know who the free agents that are coming up
Mhm,
are,
mhm,
but if all of a sudden contracts keep going up, then
mm.
yeah, he very well may opt out and say he could very well opt out and say, yeah, I'm worth more than that guy, you know?
Okay, so soapbox time, Ted. If Major League Baseball had a real salary cap,
Yeah.
okay, and deferrals were included, which they have to be.
Or there has to be some component. Yeah, there has to be some component.
Okay, just because the Dodgers have the financial means to do this doesn't mean that they should use this as a way to circumvent what is supposed to be something close to a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume for the moment that there is a salary cap in
Yeah.
place in calorie cap in place in Major League Baseball, and it didn't include deferrals. Okay, then every team can either choose to do it or not choose it.
Right.
But even if that were the case, the Detroit Tigers or the Kansas City Royals do not
Right.
have the financial means to handle
No.
$1 billion in deferrals. So this is my point. And Ted, I did some numbers, and I don't know exactly what this means, but let me get to this in a moment. I took their top 12 players,
The
okay?
Dodgers.
The Dodgers' top 12
Okay.
players. And I figured out, well, first of all, those 12 players, I wrote it down somewhere. Hold on.
Well, go ahead.
I'm going to the book, Ted, because I forgot to put it
Yeah.
down in my cheat sheet that I use here. So Ted, my little book of notes here. I still didn't put it down what I thought it did. Anyway, the top 12 players, which by my count, Ted, are, hold on.
Shohei.
Yeah, Shohei's on the list. Shohei, Mookie, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Kyle Tucker now, Teoscar, Glasnow, Snell, Diaz, Yoshi, and then even Tanner Scott and Tommy Edman. Okay,
Okay.
those 12 players,
So
just those 12
you
players.
didn't include Edwin Diaz or no?
No, I did include Diaz. I didn't
Okay.
include Muncy. I couldn't find Muncy's deal.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
those,
he signed 1 year, 16 million or something like that. I
okay,
think he's retiring after this year.
okay. So Ted, those 12 players,
Yeah.
if you use a true annualized value of their contracts,
Right. Okay.
okay, is $370 million. Just
For
12
12 guys.
players.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you fill out a team, you got to be at least at 400, right?
At least.
At
Yes.
least.
Because the
Okay.
minimum is like 1 million. Yeah.
If you look at according to Sport Track, the
Right.
website for sport, and you look at the cash payroll, I don't know exactly what that means, but I think it means actual money out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the Marlins, Pirates, A's, Rockies, Rays, and White Sox, so 1, 2, 6 teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Those 6 teams range total out the door between 85 and 101 million dollars. Okay. So you have the Dodgers spending at least 4 times as much
Yeah.
than at least 6 other teams in the same sport that they're supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
a real sport, Ted. That's not a real team sport.
It's well, I think without I looked this up once at some point. Uh this it's yes, you have those 6 and you could probably include 4 or 5 more that really aren't that far past that,
Mhm, mhm.
but then like 2 through 5 or 2 through 7,
Okay.
it goes from Dodgers 400 down to like the Yankees or the Blue Jays or the Red Sox or whatever, 200 Phillies, 250 million.
Right.
That's $150 million. I mean, if the Dodgers were at 280 and the next team was 250,
Yeah.
okay, we're yeah, all right.
If it's 150, that's Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie combined.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it baseball, I mean, it's really a problem that even people I was reading a couple articles today about the Tucker thing. It's like people are fans, just fans, are so tired of because here's the other thing. When we were kids and free agency started and the
Hmm.
Yankees signed everybody.
Hmm.
Reggie Jackson, do you remember his contract?
I don't remember the details. I remember Winfield was the first one to make a million, is my
Reg
recollection.
Reggie per year.
Yes, right.
Reggie is undoubtedly the biggest name in baseball at the time he was a free agent. Whether
Yep.
you thought he was the best player,
No,
he
right,
was the
right.
biggest
Yeah,
biggest
sure.
5 years, $2.5 million
Total.
total.
To about
500
500,000 a year.
a year. Yeah. Yeah. Now, when you look at and then so if the Yankees payroll then was $12 million, which probably wasn't even that high, but let's just say it was $12 million. People were, yeah, okay, it's a lot of money for a ball player, blah, 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 blah. But when you see $400 million, and Kyle Tucker is a good player, but $240 million for 4 years. I, so people see this, and if they're in Pittsburgh or wherever, Cincinnati or any Kansas City's had a big off season. They've signed several players. It, it's probably not gonna make any difference. Um, it's this guy was writing that fans in these want a work stoppage so that they can do a reset and come up with a cap or something like that.
Okay.
In the smaller everybody
Right.
outside of LA is essentially saying, "Look, we gotta do something about the Dodgers."
I would say LA and Philly
Yeah.
because Philly's got such a small window left.
Yeah, okay. But there is eh, but even I think even the Phillies people, fans are like, I mean,
Because they have to compete with the Dodgers just to get to the
right,
just to get to the
just to
World
get to
Series.
the World Series,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So, fans are now it's too much.
Yeah.
Because they see the other sports and they
Yeah.
see guys get cut and traded because of and the Dodgers don't have to do that.
Well, I keep on saying in the NFL, you have teams from Buffalo and Green Bay that are consistently competitive, and in this case, better than teams from New York. But they're at least competitive with teams from Los Angeles. It,
Yes,
it,
but it's the
basic,
salary cap and the division of TV money.
right,
That's the
100%.
because there's no local TV money other
Right,
than, like the weekly coaches show, which is not a thing.
right, right. Um, all right, now let's go over to the
Well,
Bichette. Yeah.
before you finish that, again, reading
Oh,
this
yeah.
article,
Yeah. Keep going.
the Dodgers have, it didn't give the specifics of their local TV deal, but it's very good, right? It's,
Right.
you know, who knows, 30 million a year or something,
Right.
50 million, I don't know. But the other thing the Dodgers have that nobody else really has is they have the international, they have the Asian market.
Yeah.
They have essentially cornered the Asian market,
Yeah.
and nobody else can compete with that. When you have the wherewithal that the Dodgers I don't know if the Dodgers thought this out or the companies from Japan and Korea thought this out or some combination, where when the Dodgers are on the road and in Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or wherever, and those companies that are based in Japan and Korea are doing advertising in the road stadiums home just for the Dodger games, and they're buying out, the behind home plate advertising or as much of it as they can get. And the Dodgers are getting a piece of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Pirates can't can't what's the sandwich plate Primatis or whatever it's called. They make these it's a sandwich place in
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh. They're not advertising, know, on the Dodger game or the Giant game, They're not buying out ads behind home plate in Dodger Stadium. It's not happening.
All right.
So
Now, Ted, I almost glossed over this, but then I think we do need to discuss this, which is the whole likelihood of a work stoppage. In many ways, this signing might be the straw that breaks the camel's back with
Even the players.
75% of the.
Even the players.
You think
Yeah.
so?
I I don't I think I mean, who knows? I mean, the players always say, "No, no, it's great, you know, we because it's better for all of us." But
The
it's not.
rising tide carries all.
But it's not. If you're playing, if you're Fernando Tatis and you're
Mm.
making $25 million and the Padres are spending money like they have, I don't know if they're spending it this year, but they're looking around going, "Wait a minute, you know, we're spending $200 million
And we're
and
getting
they're
lapped.
and we're yeah, I mean, it's we couldn't even beat the Cubs in the playoffs, you know."
Would you now put the odds of a work stoppage after this season at 75% or higher?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think the owners even are like, aside from maybe the Dodgers, aside from the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees or the Mets or something. I they it's not going to work. It's not sustainable, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, they know it. I think, or they're not dumb people to have acquired a major league franchise.
Yeah.
You're probably not. You probably have some business acumen, and
Yes.
I just think that they have to look around and go, and they're all competitive. They don't want to have a team that stinks. You would think,
It's
yeah.
just it's a shame how America's pastime is being destroyed and becoming a second-rate sport because they have a non-competitive product on the field. It's sad. But anyway, let's go on to the Mets signing Bo Bichette to a 3-year, $126 million deal, most likely to play third base with
Yeah,
Francisco Lindor
yeah.
staying at shortstop. This gives him a $42 million annual value compared to the Tucker deal at $60 million. Um, like the Tucker deal, Ted, I like this deal if I'm a Mets fan because Bichette's going to be 28 this season. So they are getting the best of the best years of Bichette.
Yes, yeah, if his leg is okay, which, I mean, he could hit in the playoffs. He just wasn't very mobile, but if he's got all winter to fix it up, so, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know if there's opt-outs in that one, but, let's just say he stays there for 3 years. He's now and he has 3 good years.
He
Again,
could he
he's
could get one more good contract.
yeah, and he's versatile. He'll be able to play third. He may even be able to play some second. And I wouldn't be surprised if, given what the Mets did, and they took the guy from Seattle and they said we're going to put him at first. I
Blanco.
wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't work out. They call Bo and say, "Hey, listen, we put you on one corner. Would you mind trying the other one?" You know.
Um, using my runs produced stat, he's at 23%. So pretty darn good.
Yeah.
In his 5 seasons of being a regular with the Blue Jays, he played 673 of 810 regular season games. Over that time, he hit 292 with 95 homers, 393 RBI, and 388 runs scored while playing shortstop.
Yes. Yeah.
His 162 game average in those 5 years was 292, 23 homers, 95 RBI, and 93 runs scored. You compare that to Tucker, he's a little bit more of a power hitter, 273, 31, 103, 96. But the Mets are paying 42 million a year and getting a very closely productive offensive player that the Dodgers are paying 60.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, I don't think the Dodgers or I don't think the Mets missed out on a ton other than maybe if they wanted, another outfielder as opposed to another infielder. That would
Now,
be
I saw a projected lineup today where uh, Lindor would lead off, Soto would hit second, and Bichette would hit third. And before I saw that, the one thing I thought to myself is Bichette is not exactly like Alonso in that he's the prototypical power hitter to hit
right.
behind and protect Soto. I don't know that Bichette is the ideal guy to hit behind Soto and give him protection. And that's the only thing that I don't like about this Mets team right now. I don't see who Soto's protector still is. I would probably change the lineup a little bit. I'd probably go in a slightly different pattern, but Anyway, I don't know what you think
Well,
about that.
you have some time to play around with that. I mean, as the season goes on, they'll have to figure it out. But if that's what they start out with, it may work. But if it doesn't, they may swap Bichette and Soto. They'll figure something
And
out. I'm sure.
they could maybe go Simeon, then Lindor, then Bichette, then Soto, or maybe Soto third. I don't know. They can flip things around a couple different ways there. It all depends. If Simeon comes back to be anything close to the player he was with the Rangers in the World Series season,
Yeah,
but then at the end of the day, the other big thing for the Mets is who's going to win some games on the pitching mound. I mean,
yeah, right.
as the season went on last year, I mean, midway through the season, we were crowing about the season that David Peterson was having. Um,
I think he made
and
the All-Star team, right?
yeah, and then their Japanese pitcher is
Oh,
Senga,
Senga.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he ended up going back down to the minors at one point last season. So to me, that and with Diaz gone, who's going to other than Devin Williams, who's going to close games? They've taken the whole Yankee closing situation of Weaver and Williams. But
You're not impressed? Okay.
I just think we need a few more arms in that Mets uh, uh, pitching rotation and bullpen to get them through a season. But I do like this deal. I've always been a Bichette fan. I said for a while I thought he might have been the better complete offensive player than Vlade, but then Vlade went crazy in the playoffs and proved me wrong. And you know,
I mean, but the thing is, at that number, if the Blue Jays were chasing Tucker,
hmm,
they coulda, for the same amount of money, it seems to me, they coulda kept Bichette, and for 3 years or 4 years,
yeah,
whatever, and, given him it I don't I know that they said the Mets offered, uh, Tucker no deferrals, like 5 years and 220 or something like
hmm.
that, or 4 years and 220, whatever it was. Um, I don't know what Bichette was if Toronto was making an offer to Tucker in that same vein, but you would think one of their own, they know him, he played injured for him in the playoffs, I mean,
And he plays a critical position. I mean, you don't find a
uh,
lot of shortstops hitting 290 with 23 homers and 90
well, he wasn't
RBIs.
gonna play he wasn't gonna play shortstop for him after. I
Oh,
don't
you
think
don't
so.
think so? Okay.
I think they were gonna leave that guy, uh
Oh, right. Yeah,
but
yeah,
they were either gonna put him at second or third, like the
yeah.
Mets are playing him at third. But to me, I think if I'm the Blue Jays, I have to be scratching my head at 3 years and 126,000,000. It's a lot of money, but if they were chasing Tucker, I don't know why they couldn't have given that kinda deal to Bichette.
Now, the interesting one, I got this from my Philadelphia correspondent today,
Yeah.
Ted,
Yeah.
that the Phillies were in on
Yes, they were.
Bichette
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the plan to, what did he say? Were they going to make No, they were going to make Stott the shortstop,
Yeah.
no, the third baseman rather. And I can't remember who was going to play shortstop, but anyway,
Well,
they were at,
Trey Turner's still at short then, right?
okay. But anyway, what was interesting was almost immediately after Bichette was announced, it was announced that Realmuto comes back to the Phillies.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
like the Phillies were saying, "Okay, JT, if we can get Bichette, we're not going to have money for you, but if we don't get Bichette, then we have money for you."
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, the Phillies thing, it they sort of boxed themselves in with that one, with Realmuto, because they didn't have an option B, and he knew it,
Mm,
so I think they gave him a year too long, for
mm.
one, and probably too much money. I would be
I didn't
surprised if
even
he had.
see the number. What was
I
the
think it
deal?
was, 45 million. I think he's getting 15 million a year.
For how many years?
3.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
It's not the worst deal in the history of
yeah.
mankind, but I just think it's a year too long and a little
What is
too
he,
much money,
32, 33 now?
something like that. But yeah, the numbers offensively have tailed off
Yeah.
quite a bit in the
He's
last
caught a
couple of
lot of
years,
games.
but he's a catcher.
He's caught a
That's
lot
what I
of games in
mean.
the last
Yeah.
couple of years. Yeah.
I mean, remember when back in I guess it was the mid 90s, the Orioles signed Javi Lopez from the Braves, and he had one good year. And
Mm.
then he had like three more where he was, he tried, but he was just beat
Just
up
out of
and he couldn't.
gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that the Phillies, it's not a ton of money for the Phillies, and he'll still be a good catcher. But
And he'll be a good locker room guy. And
yeah, that's, but I envision him hitting, potentially hitting 8th his last 2 years, 'cause I
Yeah.
just don't see a lot there
Yeah.
recently anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up for the evening. Thank you to our fans for listening. Hoping you're enjoying these little special episodes. Please follow us here on millions.co. Hopefully, at some point, we'll figure out how to live stream again and people can watch our faces live on YouTube and Instagram, but we can't figure that out. My tech abilities are wanting.
I'm not sure that that's what they're looking forward to is see.
Judging by how many people are joining us
Yeah,
while we're on
yeah,
millions. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, please check us out on all of our social media platforms. We will put this up on YouTube since we couldn't get there live. We're also on Instagram, X, and Facebook. You can also email us at grumpybrothersports@gmail.com. And with that, we'll say good night, and we promise to do better next time.